The DAPT, the Domestic Asset Protection Trust. Whew. Sounds pretty sexy and cool, right? Well, for us geeks in the asset protection world, we think these are pretty awesome. And they're pretty unique. And unless you're a lawyer practicing in business and asset and tax planning, you're not going to really know about the DAPT. So I want to break them down, try to help you know what they're all about and when you might need one. So let's dive into it. First, let's talk about what they're not used for. A DAPT is not used for estate planning. That's when we die. That's when we're going to use a will versus revocable living trust. Got a great video on that in my channel. Go check it out. Subscribe. You'd love it. We also don't use DAPTs for tax planning. We're not going to use a DAPT to save on FICA or some sort of estate tax or income tax. They're not used for that. Also, a DAPT is not used for wealth building. That's going to be an IRA or 401k, and we're going to use rental properties and LLCs for proper protection and flexibility of control. That's going to be a whole other topic. And finally, we don't really use a DAPT for privacy. Maybe we can come up with a unique name for the DAPT and someone won't find what you own, maybe, but it's not a privacy-driven decision. That's not what a DAPT's used for either. So where do we use a DAPT? We use them for asset protection. The very name, Domestic Asset Protection Trust. Domestic meaning in the United States for asset protection, and it's a type of trust. Now, there's only 17 approximate states, and they're changing all the time. Down in the description below, I've got a list of all the states that have valid domestic asset protection laws, and they vary a little bit by state. I can't cover all those differences here in this video, but depending on what state you're in, you can do a little bit of research and find out real quickly how the DAPT varies and how it's applied in your state. But the DAPT is a legislative statute. It's a law passed in these approximate 17 states that says, hey, if you take an asset and put it in one of these trusts and you get sued, it's going to be harder for the creditor that's suing you to get that asset. All right, let's do an example. And I'm going to kill a tree here, and maybe it was just a twig, I don't know. But okay, we're moving on to a new piece of paper. Now here's where I would normally put a DAPT. And if you've seen my videos before, please check them out, all about tax planning, wealth building. We're gonna have our typical revocable living trust here at the bottom, and our beneficiaries down here, blah, 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 blah. We're gonna maybe have an LLC or an S Corp, and we're gonna be doing tax planning over here. We may have LLCs here for rental properties, and then we've got our IRAs and HSAs and 401ks and all this good stuff I love to talk about. And frankly, we're not even talking about life insurance. Life insurance, LI, we'll put that over here as a little document, is a whole other topic too. Where we like at our firm, and we've been doing this for years, and really playing around with the DAPT to figure out their most beneficial use for ease of administration and cost, where we like the DAPT, first and foremost, is right here. We want this DAPT to be the owner of your home, your primary residence. That's a lot of times in people's lives, their number one asset. Now, we want retirement accounts and rental properties to supersede that someday. But for a lot of people, the equity in their home is a big deal. And we want to protect that from a lawsuit. So the DAPT is set up with a trustee, and it's not going to be you. This trustee carries out your wishes according to the DAPT, and the beneficiary is your revocable living trust. So you get the use of the asset, and you can sell it and put other stuff in the DAPT. You buy a second home and sell this one, whatever. And if you die, it all goes into the revocable living trust. So there's no probate, and we're back to our estate planning. And again, we could put a little privacy type twist to this with the name. But the whole goal here is if you're driving down the road and you're texting and driving, as you know you're not supposed to, and this is you over here, the trustee of your revocable living trust, and you plow through a stop sign or some crosswalk and you really hurt someone and they come to sue you. So there's this lawsuit and there's this creditor out here that's going to come after you and they're going to want all your assets. And that's when asset protection kicks in. We don't want to get sued from our tenants. They're all the way up here, and that's what LLCs are used for. But how do I protect my home? Do I put my home in an LLC? Not going to work. It's generally problematic. So when this creditor comes after you, in these 17 so states, we come can protect your home from this creditor by creating this wall right here. So they come after you, and they normally come right after your house. Ba-ching! They can't touch your house. Can't touch this. Da, 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 da. Okay, I'm a child of the 80s, got to throw a little MC Hammer. But they can't touch this because you've got this DAPT, this Domestic Asset Protection Trust. And the beauty of this trust is it can be private. The only public viewing of this trust is going to be at the county recorder as the title owner to the property. I don't have to record it with a state or anything like that. We charge around $1,500 to set them up. You can shop around, and that, of course, you will. And trustee fees are going to range from $300 to $400 a year. That's what we charge. And if you're paying a lot more than that, I'd reconsider. But the DAPT is simple because it's a one-time setup fee. There's no tax return. You've got a trustee that carries out your wishes, and you create this protection. Now, that may have seemed overly simple, but it is. And that's why I love doing some of these videos, is because a lot of asset protection gurus throw a lot of smoke and mirrors and fancy language, and they want to create maybe a Delaware statutory trust or some other land trust or some other irrevocable spendthrift trust and all these other trusts that can be a lot more expensive and complicated and may not be worth the headache. I have a lot of clients that come to us going, can you just simplify all this garbage I paid $5 or $10 grand for or more? Get a second or third opinion before you go down a crazy train of more elaborate trust planning when the DAPT could be just a simple fit depending on where you live. Now, I know it's hard in some states, like especially California, where you're trying to protect that, glorified 401k called the equity in your home, and it's $1 million of equity and you're trying to protect it, and some schmoozy salesman's gonna say, oh, we can throw it in this Delaware trust or a business trust or this or that, and it'll help you out, and it's lots and lots of money. Be cautious. I'm not saying that some of those trusts don't work, but they come with baggage. Tax returns, irrevocability, they're irrevocable trusts. There's a lot of costs up front. What's the maintenance cost? Do you really understand it? You really want to make sure that you've got all those I's dotted and T's crossed before you go down one of those paths. So maybe I'm rambling, but the point is, I love the DAPT. They're simple, they're easy, they've been around, they can work well in a variety of states, but not everywhere. So continue to do your research on asset protection. I've got some great podcasts on this, on what trusts don't do and what trusts can do. It's over at Refresh Your Wealth. You can get it on Stitcher and Spotify and iTunes on the podcast play button, whatever. But get over there and check out our podcast. I write about this in several of my books. And just do your homework. It can be very, very affordable to get the research done so that you don't misstep when it comes to this expensive process of asset protection. But there you have it, the Domestic Asset Protection Trust. I think it's a great trust that could actually maybe work for some of you. So keep learning, keep studying, and keep living that American dream. Thanks so much for watching that video, and I want to be your source for tax and legal strategies. It's hard enough to live the American dream without being out on the web, on Google, trying to find answers to complex questions and just clicking a mouse, hoping you got it right. My team and I want to be a huge resource to you. The law firm, accounting firm, my education resources on my site. Please continue to follow these strategies. I know they'll save you thousands. Now, click here if you want to be a part of my newsletter. It's awesome. Weekly updates and deadlines and strategies and tips. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll love it. And make sure to click the bell icon so you get a little ping whenever there's a new video. And finally, check out my site, markjkohler.com, with all sorts of videos, probably 70 plus videos, 30 plus hours of content that'll save you thousands.